Hey, 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 happy day, back to square one. What the heck does that mean? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, with a subject that I don't know that we talk about very often. Um, there are games, I think of the game Trouble I used to play with my kids, with that little popper where you'd play around the board and people could land on your game piece and then they'd send you back to the beginning. That always reminded me of back to, well, circle one or square one. Starting over, returning to the beginning of something when you are trying something you don't necessarily get the result or the goal that you want. Um, I am horrible at going all the way back to square one. I tend to trudge along and keep going and keep going and keep trying until I get the result that I want in any area of my life. And so I've found just recently that stopping, blowing everything up, and going back to square one, or starting from the very beginning, or going back to the drawing board if you're drawing plans or architecture, can be really, really powerful. And I've actually done that on purpose several times since I started this online business journey, because it's really powerful to go back and revisit the foundational things, the pieces that actually set you on the right trajectory to go where it is that you want to go with your business and with your life. Every time we start something new, it's like going back to square one. I think about being divorced. Well, not being married anymore, starting a new relationship is like going back to square one. I think if anybody's been divorced and been dating again, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every day we forget so often. Nature shows us every day that we can start over. We can go back to square one. We can have a new day, a new beginning. Every day the sun rises and the sun sets. But it's even more interesting than that. We can actually decide at any moment to have a brand new beginning, to start something over, to go back to the drawing board, to say, okay, we tried this, it didn't work. Where did it go wrong? And a lot of times that is back at the very beginning, because we didn't plan, we didn't take into account everything that possibly could have or should have happened in order to get the result that we wanted. And so we just start over. There is nothing wrong, and there's a lot of power in starting something over again. I've had to do this so many times with different businesses, different projects, different areas of my life, where we say, okay, yep, this is what we were going for. This is the result we got from our first attempt. Let's go back to where we messed up and continually improve and change and start over with what will work and what will improve and what will get us the result we want. Um, I'm just laughing about this one because there are so many places in my life where I should have blown it up and started over. Places that I stayed too long, worked too long, businesses or relationships that I was in too long, because we get so ingrained in just going forward and keeping moving and doing what we're doing. But sometimes it's okay to reflect, take a pause, take a break, and say, is this really what I want? Or did I somehow get off course or go down the wrong road? Because I don't know about you, but I've gone down the wrong road a couple of times. Doesn't mean my life is over. It just means sometimes I got to backtrack, start at the fork in the road again, and take the other fork, right? So that's our little thought today. Back to square one. Is there something in your business that you're trying to accomplish that would be best suited if you went back to square one? If you went back to the drawing board and said, all right, this is what we were going to do. It's not working. We're like wasting so much time and energy and resources on this. Maybe we need to go back to square one and start over. I know big systems change, like computer systems change processes. Doesn't happen so much anymore, but back in my corporate days, we would be doing massive computer system changes, and sometimes they ended up being worse than the old system we had in place because we hadn't done all the planning that we needed to, and the implementation didn't go as smoothly as we had thought. Now with technology today, it's so much different than it was then that I don't think we see those kind of snafus as often. But I'll give you an example. I'm on a team that was designing an app, and our app, we outsourced it and we gave it to a different country to help us with the programming, and it got blown up because they weren't capable of doing what they said they could do. And so We have gone back to square one with that project. Even though we were a year into that project, we've had to go all the way back to the beginning and start over step by step from the very beginning of how we're going to create and bring that product to fruition, bring it to the market and get it done right this time. Is it painful to do that? Is it painful to say, okay, we lost a year and more money than I want to admit because we didn't and we trusted the wrong people? Yeah, it hurts to do that and say that, but it beats the alternative of just giving up and quitting and just letting it die, right? So think about things today in your life or in your businesses that are like that maybe you need to just say, all right, I've been beating my head against this wall long enough. It's time to stop, take a step back, and maybe look at it from the very beginning, or maybe go down a totally different road. That's it. Go out, make it an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow with some other interesting idiom to share its origin and where it came from. And this one, there wasn't much info about where it came from. They just associated it with board games. So, board games. I find that interesting because isn't business just a big board game? It is in my life. All right, take care. Bye.